What's up, everybody? Mike Stather here.
Karl with you.
The Obsession Podcast. New deer, new year, baby.
Right on.
So, you had a question come to me, Karl.
Yes.
I got into a little bit of a discussion with this guy about it, and then I had to stop.
You had to stop.
I had to stop.
Well, then this is probably a pretty tense one.
He was debating with me on speed
Yeah.
versus kinetic energy.
Okay. So, for hunting?
Yes.
Yeah.
100% for hunting.
Speed versus kinetic energy.
What are your thoughts, Karl? What do you feel is better? Speed or kinetic energy?
100% kinetic energy.
Really? I don't. Why is that?
Because speed's irrelevant.
Correct. This is the debate I had.
Okay.
So, you wanted to tell me that, you want these fast bows and everything because it's going to make it easier to make your shots and, for deer, ducking or jumping an arrow. I said, well, I'm going to tell you a fact. And this is a fact.
Yeah.
Until that arrow can move 750 feet per second,
Yeah.
a deer can duck or jump it.
Correct.
So, I don't care if your bow is 330 feet per second, IBO. Let's just throw the IBO out there.
Let's throw that.
There.
IBO.
IBO there.
AMO. IBO.
LMFAO.
LMFAO. Correct.
So, that's a fact. That is a fact. Crossbows, a lot of people crossbow hunting. I'm not getting into that, but, the 400 feet per second,
now.
500 feet per second. Awesome.
Uh-huh.
Now, I'm not going to debate that let's just say a 310 foot per second bow
Yeah.
and a 250 foot per second bow. Yes, there's going to be some benefit to a little bit faster bow.
Oh, yeah.
Because that amount of gap
It's huge.
is huge in an archery shot in the whitetail woods.
Okay, so let's get this perfectly clear before we go a lot further. So number one,
Do we have enough tape?
I don't know, but this is going to take a bit. So I'm assuming this individual we were talking to is talking about hunt whitetails.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm not thinking
Well-
about. Does he go out west?
Yes.
Okay.
And then he tried to add this into the out west conversation.
Okay. Well,
If you're not watching, I'm giving him a look.
okay.
So
The out west conversation.
yeah. So here's a couple of points I brought up.
Okay.
So, and I by no means consider myself some archery or bow expert at all. But I will tell you this, a lot of experience. We test everything that we use, from releases to arrows to vanes to broadheads to strings to stabilizers to everything.
Yep.
Everything on the bow or that we use, rangefinders, binos, gear,
Yeah.
we use it for a reason.
Correct.
And that being said, I think the biggest thing is a speed versus kinetic energy. I mean, I could care less about speed. I never have. We know this, one of the fastest bows that we've ever seen.
Yeah.
I had it.
Yep.
Unbelievable, stupid fast numbers out of the chrono.
Yep.
That thing was shooting, I can remember this, 360 to 365 feet per second with my hunting setup.
Yeah. Yeah, that was almost. That was.
And
At
people-
that time, we were shooting a fairly light arrow.
And can you remember the people that we talked about that? They're like, you're full of it.
Yeah.
And we're like, no, we're shooting this thing to a chrono gap. That's how fast it's shooting with a hunting setup.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can't be, whatever. Uncontrollable.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't shoot that thing. I
don't think anybody really could shot.
consider myself a fair archer.
Yeah.
I couldn't hit a barn standing inside it, that thing, accurately.
You missed a lot of deer with that.
Oh
thing.
my God. Now, I killed one big deer with it.
You did. A pretty important one.
Yeah, the funniest thing, I've killed the biggest deer I ever killed was with that bow.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I got lucky. Whatever. I'll take luck sometimes.
Yeah, you'll have that.
But I could not control that bow. For all the speed it had, it didn't have the kinetic energy though that my Widowmaker had.
No.
which downrange, and this is another discussion. I mean, there's so many.
So this is where they start talking about kinetic energy and momentum, and you know, I'm not a huge fan of the internet discussions on all of this. You have both sides, whatever. There's a really intelligent individual and a guy who tests everything even more than Mike and I. His name is Joel Maxfield. You guys can just look him up. He fairly important individual at Matthews. That's just how I'll say it. He's a really important guy. Great guy.
It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, he's a great guy. And a great archer. Joel tests everything. And he'll tell you the same thing. But this is how I look at it. So, kinetic energy to me is more important than anything else. Everybody's going to talk to the mathematical conversion to momentum and slugs and da-da-da-da-da. Okay, whatever. You're shooting North American game. Okay? So here's what I found out over 30 plus years of being in the industry and having a mechanical engineering degree and all this other crap that everybody wants to talk about. North American game, 440 grain arrow, 70 pound bow, 29-inch draw length is more than sufficient to kill every North American game animal out there.
Agreed.
Buffalo, elk, caribou.
You mean you don't gotta shoot 100 pounds?
You don't have to shoot 100 pounds. You don't have to shoot 80 pounds. You don't have to shoot a 600 frickin' grain arrow. Those of you who shoot expandables do need more kinetic energy than those of us who don't.
That's a fact.
There is no lying about that. That being said, even most expandables shot at a whitetail and regular with any sort of decent amount of energy is going to pass through it, as long as the broadhead is sharp, and long as you don't hit too much bone. Don't shoot them in the shoulder with an expandable. My setup, I don't care what angle they give me.
Me neither. Yeah,
Well, we got the same setup.
This is where it evolved.
Yeah.
This conversation just kept evolving. You know?
So they start talking, you know, I mean, you have to have common sense. You have to know the anatomy of your animal. Know your equipment, you know. I could say I got 100 foot-pounds of kinetic energy, which my boat does not produce 100 foot-pounds of kinetic energy. Just for the sake of an argument, it doesn't do that. But yet I know with my fixed blade broadhead and short ferrule that I don't get ferrule flex. I don't lose energy. It continues through the animal, even through bone.
Yep.
And we've proven it time and time again.
Yes.
On footage.
Yes. On film.
Yep.
Dead animals.
Yep. For those of you who are shooting mule deer at 50 plus yards, 60 yards, 70 yards, 80 yards, 100 plus yards,
Yep.
which is a realistic shot. Antelope, same damn thing. 280 feet per second is fast enough for a hunting bow. But I will tell you this, it better be quiet. Proven this year, a loud bow out west, filmed, will not shoot antelope at longer yardages. Why? Because they're reacting to the sound. So speed is loud. Don't care what you say, who you are. You don't even want to argue with this. Because what you guys are doing is you're shooting a lighter arrow at a higher speed, and you're shooting a light arrow to get the speed. But if your bow is snapping and making all this noise, the animals just get out of the way. Okay? And that even with the whitetail at 20 yards, same damn thing.
Yeah. Yep.
So, light arrows are loud, but fast. Heavy arrows are quieter, but slow. People argue that momentum doesn't change downrange. You know, kinetic energy. It's going to stay more.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's true to a point. And then they're going to talk the speed part of that. So, downrange, my arrow isn't going as fast. That's what they're telling you. But my kinetic energy isn't changing. Well, that's incorrect, because speed and kinetic energy are based off of same numbers. So speed coming out of the bow, you've got more energy here than you do downrange, and they're going to say you're going to carry your kinetic energy downrange, and that's pretty much true too. But I think his argument to you is irrelevant on the grounds that knowing your equipment, you know, if you're going to tell me it's easier to shoot let's just say, you and I hunting whitetails, we never pull our pin off 20 yards. Because we know what our drop is at 50 yards. So I shot shocker, for instance, basically 38, 39 yards, pin was set at 20. I know where to aim. Okay? There's no argument for speed if you know your equipment. If you don't know your equipment, then you're lazy anyway.
Yeah. And this is one of the points I brought up to him is I said, I know my equipment.
Yeah.
I know my downrange.
Yes.
I know about the speed of my bow.
Right.
I know about the kinetic energy of it.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Right.
I really don't. He's like, well, yeah, I do know.
These arguments come from the people that lose deer because they either make a bad decision, in my opinion, or they've had a bad experience and want to blame it on something else when it's really just their bad decision.
Yeah. I said, I'll tell you this for a fact. You and I both have taken shots, made shots, repetitively, and taken out animals on shots that I'll air quote again for those that aren't watching, you can't take that shot.
Oh yeah.
And we filmed it.
Yep.
And we watched it because we know what our equipment can do because it's tested, it's shot time and time again.
Yeah.
I've shot and you have shot several whitetails almost facing us.
Yes.
And we have put that pin directly on that shoulder.
Oh yeah.
And drove it.
Yeah. And in one through the one side of the shoulder, through the lung, through the top of the heart, through the other lung, and out into the ground.
And that's why I say drove it.
Yeah.
Buried that arrow through it.
Yeah.
And yep, you ain't going very far.
In general, you guys, I'll be honest, I ain't lying about that 440 to 480 grain arrow for North American game. I believe, and I think there's a lot of people out there who would agree with me, that you can't find a more efficient arrow for North America. You go into Africa or something like that, it's different. You have to have a heavier arrow, especially if you're hunting the big 5. They actually, and I'm not really sure what the number was. I swear it used to be 800 or 900 grains. But you're shooting through animals that have skin that's an inch and a half. Oh, and you can't shoot expandables.
Yeah, you can't. And you talk to anybody that
go to Canada
and guides, and you shoot an expandable, they're very happy.
No.
Or they might not even let you hunt with.
Right. The first year I shot an expandable ever, when I worked with Rocky Mountain, we designed the sniper. And I went out west, and the guide about freaked out because I had the sniper with me. But I knew Bruce Very had shot elk before with the sniper. And that was the cut on contact with the inch and 3/8 cut.
It was a completely different head at that time.
Yeah. It wasn't the Rage 2-inch or whatever crap they got now. Anyway, I shot my elk with that head, and he was amazed. It went in one side, out the other side at 50 yards, shooting a real slim line. At the time, I was shooting a full metal jacket because I was shooting for Hoyt then. And but then the full metal jacket arrow, remember how heavy those were? That arrow was 460 some grains.
Yeah.
Great. Now we've got the cam full back systems. We've got the cam backs are way the blade angle's all jacked up. It's way too much. Just don't do that. Just shoot a fixed line.
Which is obviously one of the argument.
Right.
And I tell everybody, I'm like, here's the deal. An expandable hit in the exact right perfect spot obviously is very devastating.
Oh God. Yeah.
Shot by the design, by pure design. Yeah, I agree.
Oh yeah.
100%. But I will take my fixed blade or the fixed blades that we like to shoot over that because a lot of times your shots aren't perfect.
Right.
Or maybe it's a marginal shot. Maybe something happened. But I have a lot more faith in that. Yeah. Going in there and doing what it needs to do. Yeah. To recover that animal.
I like the in and out deal.
Yeah, I like pass through. We've always talked about I like a pass through. And you filmed. I shot the first time we antelope hunted. Yeah. Which was 12, 13 years ago now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I shot that antelope at 118 yards.
Yes.
And that arrow passed through him, and he was quartered to me.
Yes.
And that was a bow. Back then, it was a new bow back then.
Yeah. Shooting your dream season, weren't you?
Yeah, I was shooting the dream season.
Yeah,
which has a lot of kinetic energy.
Oh, yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
And
but we were shooting a lighter arrow then, too.
Yeah, lighter arrow. I still shoot the same broadhead.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I've always shot the same.
No, I know, yeah.
So it passed through the animal.
Oh God, yeah. Your antelope this year, you shot him at 75 yards.
75 yards.
Pounded through him, went 25 yards behind the antelope, 9 inches into the ground.
So I mean, we've proven it. That's why we talk about the things we use, and Kinetic Energy's nice.
Yeah. Oh God,
I mean,
yeah.
it's nice. That's speed is speed. Like, and this is one point I try to say. I'm sure you agree with me. Is there any bow on the market right now?
Yeah.
That's not an advertised 300
No.
feet per second?
Even the comp bows for shooting 3D that are 40-inch axles with the cam efficiencies that we have now, I mean, they're advertising 326 feet per second.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you're shooting the pro classes for ASA, for instance, it's a 280 some foot per second, 88 feet per second or something rule, plus or minus a certain percentage, so the max is like 292 or whatever the hell it is.
Right.
That should tell you right there, and I ain't gonna lie, it's probably the most efficient setup you can get. No matter what arrow you're shooting or no matter what, that's the speed that they tell you to. A 280 foot per second fixed blade broadhead bow is fast, accurate, controllable, and you can make the 100-yard shots if you have to, if you're out west.
And really, where does your power come from? In your draw length.
Yeah.
Is where you're going to get a bigger power stroke.
Draw length is speed.
Yeah.
Guys, weight is not speed.
Right.
Kinetic energy, so adding your weight to it's going to slow you down.
Yes.
People argue this. The heavyweight arrow guys are going to argue this. They're going to send their comments and whatever. You guys go ahead and send your comment. We want to hear it. But, I am a firm believer that there is a certain space in between too much and too little.
Yes. That
makes your efficiency better for hunting. And our job is to be the most efficient killer we can be on the animal. You owe that to the animal you're hunting. And that's why Mike and I shoot what we shoot, at the weights we shoot, and why our two bows are very, very close. Mike's taller than I am, so he's got a little bit more of a draw length, but we could shoot each other's stuff. And arrow-wise, we could just give each other arrows. It doesn't matter. Yeah, we do that a lot.
We've done it at league.
Yeah.
We shot league with them, same. We've hunted the same with them.
Yep.
Somebody forgot their arrows last year.
I did, yeah. Somebody gave me an arrow or two, yeah. Hey, Mike, I need a bullet.
Here's a comparison. So you're shooting 60 pounds?
No, not anymore. I shoot 67. Yeah.
So, and what's your draw length?
29.
Okay. And my bow is at what, poundage-wise?
72.
72. What's my draw length?
30. 30 and a half.
So what's the difference in them?
You mean kinetic energy wise?
Yeah.
Kinetic energy, it's like 2 foot-pounds of kinetic energy.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's the difference?
It's your speed is only 6 feet or 4 feet.
Right.
No, it's 6 feet per second faster.
But that's what I was trying to tell him, like that, it's so minimal.
Yeah.
At that point and in this day and age.
Yeah.
That it's all about your equipment and controllability. Like I've thought about this year backing my bow off a little bit.
Yeah.
Just because I've had some
shoulder
problems that have been bugging me. So why do I want to put any more stress on it? Because really at the end of the day, it's not affecting what I'm doing.
Yeah. I mean, how many years did I hunt with 60, 65?
And I shot 70 always.
Right.
But downrange,
they're not
any different.
No, because we're both shooting animals at 80, 90 yards, right? Mule deer and stuff.
So it's a,
half dozen one, half dozen the other. The argument to me is really irrelevant. It's like the drag race guys, Ford versus Chevy versus Dodge versus whatever. Yeah, anybody can make anything fast. Bow-wise, I think we're tapped out engineering-wise until we come up with either a new material that's going to make things faster, or there's some sort of mathematical equation which nobody, and these guys are very smart, come up with yet to basically increase our speed by 25 to 30%. Yeah. Otherwise, it's the same crap we've dealt with for the last 10 years. Just a little bit tweak here, a little bit tweak there, maybe take some hand shock out, that type of deal. Well, that's the other thing. Lighter arrows cause vibration issues, which cause sound issues. Being fast isn't always great. I tell the people that want to go really fast just means you missed quicker.
It does. Well, have you ever shot a really fast bull past an animal and had it fall over dead?
No.
because it didn't kill nothing.
No.
It's just like falling off a building. The fall don't kill you.
No.
It's a sudden stop at the end.
Yes.
It kills you.
You are correct. Very good.
So think of that in your airway. It's that sudden stop at the end.
Right.
It kills the animal.
Yeah. I don't know. You know, people will debate this
This
all the
debate
time.
will go on for
Yeah, it's just
100 more years.
I'll be honest with you, it's irrelevant to me.
Yeah.
We shoot what we shoot because it's very efficient, and the reason we shoot it is we've tested just about everything.
Yeah.
And when we tell you guys we test everything, we
Yeah.
test everything. I got a bag right over here. I'm going to show some veins to Mike. I was
We
just
got-
at the ATA show.
Get a bucket of stuff.
Got a bucket O stuff, so
Yeah,
we're going to
it's-
test.
It goes the same with. I've had the same conversation with the same guy on a lot of stuff, and he watches a certain guy.
Ranch Ferry?
Yep.
Yeah.
That he loves, and I said, super knowledgeable guy.
I think he is.
I said I don't discredit him at all,
No.
and I said, but when you're telling me something, and you personally don't have the facts.
Before we go any further,
Yeah.
ask him on video how many animals Ranch Ferry has shot
Oh.
past 30 yards.
Yeah, I was getting to that.
Oh, okay.
No, but when you don't physically have the testing and the evidence of what you're doing, then your points to me are moot.
Yes.
Because, and like I said, Karl and I don't claim to be experts at all. We just say what works. We say what we do and what has worked for us. And this is our whole goal
Yep.
of these podcasts. And so we back up what we do,
Yeah.
because then we know that we are correct on our end
Yes.
of what we're telling you.
Yes.
So that's the thing. Like, I'm not gonna argue with a guy like, oh, I want to shoot this bow. I don't care.
Yeah.
You shoot whatever you want. You know, shoot your bow. Use your equipment. Know your bow. This is why when we shoot league, what are we using?
Our hunting
Our
equipment.
hunting equipment. They're set up for hunting. Our tacticams are still on our bows when we're shooting league.
We're shooting 204.20 or
Yeah.
204.204 Renegade Black Eagle arrows against guys that are shooting PS23s and 24, 26 arrows, 28s now. Some people,
And we win.
and we do sometimes.
But the whole thing about that is irrelevant for us. We don't shoot league to win.
No.
We shoot league to know our equipment, to be comfortable with our equipment, to pull back and have everything be the same every single time that you pull the trigger or push the trigger,
Right.
or it lets go, whatever it is. But that's the whole key.
The most important shots of your entire life throughout the year should be those, I'd say 1 to
5
5
seconds of
shots.
fame.
Yeah, 1 to 5 shots that you take on animals every year, because that animal deserves that respect to
Yes.
make a good, clean, ethical kill.
Yep.
That's why we shoot what we shoot.
Yep. And that's why we shoot a lot. We know our equipment and we know how much money have we spent on stuff we've thrown in the garbage.
A lot.
Yeah. Trust me.
A lot.
It just doesn't work. For
This wasn't a good
Yeah,
idea.
that's not very good. You know, so that's what we say.
That's what we say. Kinetic energy, don't care. Speed, don't care.
Yeah.
You know, you want to have the most energy you can, but the best part is you have to be able to hit what you're aiming at. So know your equipment, like Mike said, and continue to shoot more and more. You know, if you're one of those guys that's guessing pins, that's fine out to about 30 or 40 yards for most people. After that, you become very inefficient. Unless you shoot a lot and know your equipment. That's another story. But, you know, like when we're out west, you know, I go out there this year's mule deer. I'm guessing, okay, I couldn't see him. I'm guessing 30, 35, 40 yards, whatever. Finally, I find the tree I wanted to, ranged it at 40 yards, popped up over the top, and there he was. I didn't re-range it. I looked at it, judged the yardage, and aimed above or below to make my shot, and absolutely smoked him. But that's knowing your equipment.
Yep.
If you got to range and range and range, if I had to range that deer because he was already looking at me because those does got up,
It's not happening.
I wouldn't be putting him on the wall.
Yeah, we might still be out there.
Yeah, he's on the wall,
Yeah, he
going
is.
on the wall.
He is.
Same with yours.
Yeah.
You know, same deal.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. And I say that all the time is knowing your equipment, knowing your equipment, knowing your equipment, shooting. You know, we don't, you know, and this certain guy is like, well, I'm not going to shoot past 50 yards anyway. You know, even in an elk hunt, I'm like, okay.
Then don't argue kinetic energy.
But then
with
it
me.
don't matter.
Yeah,
It don't matter because you give one of us an elk and he's around 100 yards,
he's getting shot.
that's a lot of trouble.
Yeah. He's going on the wall.
Trouble.
Yeah.
So.
That's about where we'll end that podcast. Thanks for watching, you guys. I know there was a lot of ranting in there, but it is what it is, and that's the question we were asked this week. Kinetic energy and speed. That's how we feel about it.
That's right.
Right. Thanks for listening on the podcast. We appreciate it. If you guys get a chance, subscribe to the channel here in the lower right-hand corner. Just hit the Reaper.
Don't fear the Reaper.
Don't fear the Reaper. If you want to listen to us on our podcast, check us out on Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Google Podcast, and
RSS.com.
thanks for listening, guys.